Friends, good evening, everybody. This is Shamul here. Morning, I have talked about my journey as an entrepreneur and what kind of work I have been doing for last close to 25 years, including my research activities and currently what I am doing. I have clearly mentioned about many issues that commercialization of technology or getting into entrepreneurship activities, what are the hurdles you have and how to handle those kind of hurdles for for your sustainability. Probably that is what it is more important. And I talked about the entrepreneurship program, how the entrepreneurship program in present day is going to help or resolve many issues across the globe. Entrepreneurship is a kind of a skill probably where an individual in his capabilities, he or she can be an entrepreneur and he can establish a company or an organization where there will be enormous scope for commercialization of those technologies. Those technologies can create lot of job opportunities for others to work for your organization. This is one part, and another part is also the nation development. If is India, I in my vision document I have submitted some document. It's close to 6 hours video lecture on covering many issues that how another 100 years that India can be changed drastically. Those ideas that is been given, taking in many issues, the political issues where corrections are required, our election process, our education system, and also industry, how this can be set up, micro small scale industries. Entrepreneurship can be built in all exercise in the academic, starting from a very basic level, from school curriculum, then college, then university, then further to that different engineering institute, academic institute, how entrepreneurship can be given a particular shape so that the concept of entrepreneurship can be given to the young minds. That is the I talked about the human resource development in any country. Probably if you see, the youth are the actual force. If they are channelized properly in a right direction, those direction can be given from the government. There can be some motivational speaker on entrepreneurship, various other ways. There are a lot of entrepreneurship school or academic institute, research organization, they are working on those direction. There are a lot of incubators also are there. They should be all linked to those academic institute as a mentor, so that the same resources probably one can use it without spending much more money. So it is a kind of a reorientation of certain things that is very much required, because I personally feel that if we are able to develop good entrepreneurship kind of a system, and if you are able to inculcate the idea of entrepreneurship, there will be a good opportunity to create job. Because each individual, if I take each minds, they have, many of them probably have new ideas. Those ideas has to be channelized. Only thing, many of us probably we are not getting the opportunity and where to go, how to approach, how to form the company. There are many things probably it is known to anybody. It's a kind of a gray area for them. We have a traditional thing. Once you are coming out from the academic institute, it is expected you work for some organization or give some competitive examination or academic institution. Many things that is coming into the picture. That is the general tendency that is been seen. So in order to avoid all those things, there are many ways to channelize few things. Look, this is the idea. Probably one can tell that rather than searching job, probably If somebody is having the idea, they can be given a particular place to work out to develop those technologies. For that matter, government also should bring, also invest, create an opportunity for those new entrepreneur, budding entrepreneur, whoever is coming. There should be a proper screening all over India. So selecting entrepreneur, I told about, we have 145 crores population officially. If I talk about the youth part, it is close to 40-45% youth. So this is coming out to be close to 50 crores youth. They are kind of involved in many other exercise in academic institutes. Some are doing graduation, some are doing post graduation, some are doing masters in various field, some are into engineering field, some are into law, some other any other professional field there, some other in ITI, many other things they are doing it. Probably many is having a lot of ideas, only that opportunity should be created so that they bring those ideas and channelize those ideas, helping them to make a kind of a proper techno-economic business feasibility report, make a prototype, and kind of an incubation sale probably can be given with kind of a cheaper rate government can give. The government what trying is trying to do it, government is trying to give jobs. I told probably government needs to come out from those kind of things, because the last 70 years it is seen that there is not much job creation opportunities are there. It is true fact. There are millions of students coming out from different academic institute across India. They have to be nurtured because each individual is having different kind of minds. So how much job probably government is able to create it, rather than giving job from the government side, probably government can tell that, okay, we have given you opportunity for having education, now you exercise your wisdom and knowledge, and we are giving you the opportunity, and those are the platform you can work. I think reverse way, if you think it, and each individual probably should think in that direction. So our thought process has to be changed, that the government is not here to offer you job. We should not talk about every time showing the constitution that those are the fundamental rights. It is written, there are certain things are written in this constitution. Every constitution is having certain things to lead your life or lead your life properly. But to create a job, getting a job for you, become an entrepreneur, probably it's your own choice. That choice, if government is creating that opportunity or yourself is creating that opportunity and giving 10 other people job, I believe that India can be totally changed another 10-15 years time, if entrepreneurship program can be taken very seriously. So this is a kind of a philosophy. Like when I talk about a philosophy, means the kind of a, if you are coming into entrepreneurship program, there are many things one can learn in this process. If the entrepreneurship philosophy is inbuilt, so people are there ready to exercise their wisdom in many fields, from whichever from fields they are coming. I talked about present day that students, like who are coming out from IITs, they are into tuition, they are making big tuition, they are making big amount of money running coaching institute. So coaching institute now is a very kind of a profitable organization. If you are running a nice coaching institute, you have enough money. The students, people are ready to spend whatever, like either engineering, medical coaching institute. In India, it is like a mushroom, so it's growing like anything. So if somebody is having knowledge and wisdom, I talked about, they can create a nice academic institute, coaching institute, taking their friends together, forming a company, giving a good names. So they can do that probably. It is not to run in a very haphazard way just for, it's not. You have to take those profession very seriously, and then there is a success. I've been telling all those things I have tried to do. I have tried to help many of my friends who is junior to me. They are successful. They're running coaching institute. So friends, what I was trying to talk about, my purpose is not to talk about what are the ways and means. I'll talk about all those things afterwards my presentation. I want to concentrate on my technologies, what I was promoting, and I've been promoting for many years, and what are the impacts. That is what I want to study. I want to talk little about my technologies. I told my technology is mostly related to climate change research and studies, simulation modeling. Because of the global warming, many things are happening because of sorry, there is a expectation if the global temperature and CO2 level is rising, so there will be a food crisis, there will be mitigation, and there will be cascade effect, and how to counter those kind of adverse climatic condition. So there are various models that we have developed, and I was very much involved with those technologies, and we have been working with close to 60 projects, close to 65 research institute across globe, and we have developed those system climate change simulation model for them. Those models are mostly related to develop a new variety which are capable to withstand that particular temperature which is expected as per the IPCC guidelines, or the climate change, that what you are expecting, the CO2 level what you are expecting. Now sorry, I told about that on climate change research. It's a There are many scientists or many academic people, either from the economics or many other various fields, because this is a field probably anybody can come who can work on climate change studies, some economical impact on global warming, many other things. They have been doing research. I talked about 1917-18 Nobel Prize winner on climate change studies, and 2007 also Al Gore got the Nobel Prize. So for climate change research, those kind of work, people are getting Nobel Prize on the basis of some theoretical understanding what would be the impact and other. There are a lot of mathematical inputs or computation they have done it. They have predicted many things. I talked about 1718 Nobel Prize winner on climate change studies. He talked about the GDP. So he's talking about even if you have 7-8 degree global temperature is rising, also your GDP is going to be 5 to 6% reduction. He's talking about if your global temperature is increased by 3.5 to 4 degree, your GDP will be restricted to lowering by 4%. So global GDP is talking about. What he's talking about indirectly is a Nobel Prize winner, is a very controversial Nobel Prize winner in 2017-18. He has got that Nobel Prize. He's talking about carbon tax. So he's telling that you do a lot of industrial activities so that even if your temperature is increasing, there's nothing to worry. So my question is a little different. If your temperature is increasing by 7 to 8 degree, what about the survival of this living? It's a very difficult critical situation. We should not talk theoretically all those things. You need to see the rationality. If global temperature is increasing by 7 to 8 degree, what is going to happen with the civilization? What is going to happen with the human world or the living world for that matter? So sorry. So my model, what I was trying to talk about, very sustainable kind of model. These are all functional models. The first technology I talked about, there are few principles, that is the outcome of those technologies on climate change model. I told you about this, a prediction analysis. On that basis, you can have germplasm ready. Those germplasm can be used based on different climatic conditions to mitigate the need for kind of food scarcity if that is happening. Definitely this is going to happen, because at this present situation, whatever plants are growing, the agricultural crops are growing before because of the global temperature. If it is rising, CO2 level is rising, the productivity will be much more less, and maybe the plants are not able, there will be changing in flowering pattern, there are a lot of photosynthesis, there will be n number of variations will be there, so that your main crop productivity will be less. So what we are trying to do it over here at present situation, we have many technologies that has been developed. One is, that is the open top chamber, CO2 real time CO2 elevated open top chambers. I'll talk about those technologies a little bit. Those are very semi-permeable kind of a chamber, and top portion is open. We all know there is a plant growth chamber. Plant growth chamber is a kind of a growth chamber. If you talk about, it's a closed system. But in climate change research, everything is done in open condition, open field condition that is being conducted. The technologies I was talking about, that is the open top chamber on real time basis for CO2 temperature and ozone. This open top chamber is something, this is a kind of a circular sellotape. If you imagine there is a chamber like this, either it is a circular or it is a square kind of structure, maybe 5 meters, 6 meter, 8 meter, based on the plan height you can decide. So, and top portion is open, there is a door entry. Now, like that, for your experimental design, what you need to do essentially, that you need to maintain different CO2 levels to check the impact studies. You can have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chamber or multiple chambers or replica of 2, like that, based on the kind of experiment you are conducting. Probably one can carry out some research activities. Let's say hypothetically you want to work on CO2 temperature and ozone. The impact studies, how one will be able to do it. So it is very important, like, no, it is, we say that temperature is increasing, ozone level is increasing, or CO2 level is increasing. But scientifically, one has to prove that what are the impact. The role of a scientist lies over there. They want to bring a new variety which are capable to withstand such kind of adverse conditions, or some kind of impact analysis probably one can do if somebody wants to do. Now, imagine a situation like you want to study three parameters. I told you CO2, temperature, and ozone, the impact. Those are the factors in global warming. That is what it is happening. Now, in normal experiment, you know you should have a control. Is a reference control where you are not injecting anything externally. It is a similar kind of same chamber, probably with a polycarbonate sheet structure, and the top portion is open, and there is a monitoring facilities for CO2, temperature, and ozone. It is going to give you only these three parameter monitoring options, so that you know at on real time basis what is the level of CO2, level of temperature, and level of ozone. And there will be another next to the chamber that is completely in open atmosphere, same like, no, your CO2, temperature, and ozone. So you have two references. Now, taking these references, you are now making treatments. Those treatments, you have similar kind of structure. Those similar structure will have, one will have only the CO2 level 1. Let's say you know ambient CO2 level is 380 ppm. You want to have 450 ppm. Another will be another 500 ppm. Another is 600 ppm. Let's say three different treatments you are doing, making another three chambers, three levels you want to study. Now, you should have all the instrumentation for CO2, temperature, and ozone, and the releasing also, whatever the levels you want to discharge CO2. There will be a SCADA based controlling system, all those PLC, SCADA, solenoid, CO2 regulator, many things. It is a complete kind of a complex structure. It is finally, the objective is to maintain whatever CO2 level you want to maintain, that will be maintained throughout the crop season. So that is what the, even the monitoring of data every minute or every 3 minutes, whatever interval you need to have those data. First, you have chamber number 1 ambient, chamber number 2 is a CO2 level 1, CO2 level 2, CO2 level 3. So now the same kind of instrumentation you are doing, and you are maintaining that level. Now another set of experiment probably CO2 plus temperature. Now you want to see the impact of CO2 plus temperature. Now you use the infrared heating system, you maintain temperature and CO2. I told the discharge mechanism of CO2, how it has been done and control. Now the temperature, you have the infrared heating system, there is a controller. It can maintain that particular temperature level in reference to the ambient plus 2 degree or 3 degree. The one chamber can be of plus 1 degree, another plus 2 degree, plus 3 degree, or maybe plus 4 degree temperature. Now another set of three chambers. I'm making all those replica of, ambient ozone is there close to 40 ppb to 60 ppb ozone level that is there. Now you can make CO2 plus temperature plus ozone, the three. So experiment probably you can do that, what are the impacts are happening when you increase the temperature, increase the ozone level, increase the CO2 level up to specific level, that is one can maintain and grow plants, see the response, the physiological activities, photosynthesis, flowering pattern, seedling, many things that is coming, the microbial dynamics, because when you charge CO2 inside the chamber, there will be CO2, that is again it is concentrated CO2 when it forms the bicarbonate, because you have the moisture, it comes to soil. When you have soil enriched with carbon, there are different kind of microorganism that is going to grow. The entire microbial dynamics also is going to change because of the excess CO2 level. That is exactly happening also in nature. So many new organism that is coming because of this global warming. So it has got a lot of impact. That is what I told. Simulation model is a model where the researcher, scientists from different fields can come and work. Either it is plant physiologist, biotechnologist, microbiologist, molecular biologist, scientists from the genetics, many other fields. Probably it's a multidisciplinary thing. One can come and study whatever the impact analysis. Those things can be carried out. Another thing I talked about, total 9 chambers, right? So for CO2, for temperature, and for CO2 plus temperature. One can have only 3 chambers also. There is no problem based on the money and financial strength. Probably the replica is taken so that you get better data in your experiment. You can have comparison so that if you have more number of chambers with more treatments, probably one can get. Another thing I have not talked about, you can have another 2 or 3 chambers only for the temperature. You are not giving only temperature, you are increasing by 2 degree, 3 degree, 1 degree, 2 degree, and 3 degree, 3 chambers. Like that, one can do that experimental setup, and it's a fully automatic system, and 24/7 your data monitoring or control parameter can be done. Your data Excel sheet can be generated inside the computer. This I talked about for open top chamber. The advantage of open top chamber, your CO2 loss is less, and its top portion is open, but it is partially closed. That is one demerits, or whatever you want to say it, but this is what it is, close to nature. And there are various research organizations, they are working. I told more than 60 research institute. We have supplied close to 300 OTCs, open top chamber. They are all ICR, CSR, DST, International Research Organization. There are various research organizations, they are working. I am not naming those things. It will be very long video altogether. This is a basic fundamental thing on climate change. That is, from there, what is happening, you are able to develop a new variety that is coming from that. And those are the germplasm probably that can be stored. And any climatic mitigation program, that germplasm can be sold to farmers. That is what the whole idea. And they can take those seeds for their agricultural feed, for the multiplication, getting good variety of crops probably, and finally they are going to get the output in the form of grains and whatever you say probably, then that is the actual thing that is coming out from this scientific research. So finally it is going to help the poverty elevation program. There are many programs that is going on across the globe. It is not that those programs are not going. Sometimes it is on research level. To develop a new variety, it takes time. So there are many issues are involved, but those programming can help many researcher and the farmers. That's why I've been telling that if farmers and the researcher, there is a proper selling based on those. There are many areas very kind of a high temperature zone, and those zones probably one can select and develop a sustainable variety for agricultural purpose. So, friends, I was talking about the open top chamber, that is the technology. Probably, if you are able to understand the concept or philosophy of operation, probably it will be much more easier to understand the other technologies. My purpose of telling those technologies to give little bit sense about not getting into very detail. I have a schematic. Probably you can see the schematic over here. See here you have the ambient one, you have the external also sensing facilities for CO2 temperature and ozone. You have CO2 level 1 chamber for CO2 level 1, that is ambient plus. You have 380 ppm, maybe 425 ppm CO2 level. You can maintain another chamber, you can maintain for 500, another for 550 ppm. If you are taking three replica, one can do one CO2 level. There is no problem on that. Probably I am taking three replica for better data and better understanding. So another is temperature level 1, temperature level 2, temperature level 3. There are three chambers with three temperature level. Another is for CO2 plus temperature, one level CO2 plus temperature, second level CO2 plus temperature, third level. Another three chambers for CO2 temperature and ozone. Three chambers of three different levels of CO2 temperature and ozone can be controlled and monitored. Now, all those chambers you have in open atmosphere. So, open chamber probably you can grow crops. In this particular chamber, it can be square type of structure or top portion will be open. So now you have all the sensors for CO2 temperature and ozone for monitoring and control. Whatever parameters you want to monitor, that can be monitored, and data logging, controlling, everything can be controlled through the control room. Your CO2 and ozone can be discharged from the control room, or your ozone monitoring, control, data logging, everything can be controlled through this place. Or sometimes you can, if you want to keep ozone generator systems over inside the chamber, that also can be kept with a small housing. That monitoring option and controlling option based on the logic control, there are many issues: solenoid valve, CO2 cylinder, there are diluter, and there are air compressor mixing pure carbon dioxide, dilute it and discharge it. There are many ways to do it, and this is what the exact schematic. Those schematics are going to help. Now, if you want to reduce the number of OTC, one can do that. One can have one ambient, only one temperature level, one CO2 level on one CO2 plus temperature level. So there is no need of replica. If you have more money, or if it is a small research or small funding, probably one can have three or four OTC. One can do that experiment, absolutely no issue. Those systems are can be made wireless communication system for data logging and controlling and monitoring option. There are different level of password can be created for each user. There are many ways to upgrade the system, and there are some flexibility can be provided to carry out research. Those are based on, it's basically a tailor-made system. On that basis, probably you can, if you have different treatments, you can develop different tolerant varieties based on different level what you are setting. That is what, if your IPCC guidelines talks about another 15-20 years, your temperature is going to be increased, and such kind of environment you are creating and doing conducting research and getting the germplasm. That is what the whole idea of giving you the little schematic. This schematic is not a very perfect kind of thing. It has got many complex thing because it works like a complex neural network. There are many sensor, many signals, 4 to 20 milliampere output, 0 to 10 volt DC output, putting into PLC and data logging, all those Excel data sheet. Probably finally one is going to get a complete data sheet. What is the level you want to maintain, or throughout the day whether this is maintained or not. You can draw the mean value, many things probably from that. And throughout the crop season, like 3.5 months, the research can be conducted with this particular model. So we have developed for CSIR, we have developed system for ICAR, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, Department of Science and Technology, various other agricultural research institute, so international research institute like ICRISAT, CSI research institute like ISBT, NBRI, ICR research institute like IRI, IITs like Kharagpur IIT, the institute like JNU, Jawaharlal Nehru University, the big universities like Assam Agriculture Universities. There are many places, if I want to name, there are ICR close to 15-20 research institute, Tamil Nadu Agriculture University. There are various departments. They are working on rice, wheat, potato. So Potato Research Institute, Central Potato Research Institute, Jalandhar. Now, we have worked for University of Dubai. We have worked for ICRISAT, International Research Institute. And down south, there are many research institutes. They are working on it. We have worked for Forest Research Institute, that is in Dehradun. So that is FRI, that is also a big institute like this. So, and our system, I want to tell you over here, there are nowadays, they're part of the academic curriculum like IITs, IRI, CSI Research Institute. There are plenty of research students, they are working, and climate change is one of the subject. Probably it has been incorporated, our systems are there and it is working. So they're all part of syllabus. And whole IIT, Kharagpur IIT, they made a climate change division based on our system. IRA, they have made a division based on our system. CSIR, many labs, research institute, they have done this. In ICRISAT, they've been working on legumes. So it's International Research Institute. They are also working on the same models. So this is a kind of a proven model we have given, and that is for a very long time we have been supporting those projects. This is all about the technology of open top chamber. Beyond that, the second technology I'm going to talk about is the free air CO2 enrichment technology, that is phase technology. Phase technology is similar kind of technology. The logic control remains same. Only the it is in very open atmosphere. Only you are releasing CO2, ozone, and maintaining temperature, everything in a very open condition. But the hardware logic control are very complicated logic control. We are using anemometer for the wind speed, wind direction. So if you are working on open atmosphere, you are trying to enrich the CO2 level ambient plus 100 or 150 ppm. It is very difficult to maintain that. For that purpose, your logic control has to be very strong enough to maintain that particular CO2, because there are different wind speed that is coming, wind direction is coming. It is a blowing of the CO2 once you discharge. So that your mechanism should be set a perfect way, so that even if there is a wind direction, wind speed up to certain threshold limit, probably there will be enough CO2 supply or CO2 to be stocked based on your set point. That is what I was trying to tell, because you have analyzer for CO2 constantly monitoring what is the existing level of CO2. Those things are very critical thing in a climate change research. That's why simulation model I talked about is a complicated one. The mathematical, the algorithm is little complex for monitoring and control purpose. There are various things. Probably one can use CO2 cylinder, CO2 tank for ozone enrichment, ozone generator, so ozone monitoring system. There are lots of instrumentation that is coming into the picture for controlling and monitoring. There are humidity, temperature, soil moisture, solar radiation. So parameters is you can have many parameters for monitoring and control. Some are monitoring, some are control purpose. One can use it. You can have minimum 1 or 2 or 3 phase ring for seeing those kind of activities, what is happening with the plant, how they are responding, and you develop a new variety or germplasm. This is all about the phase technologies. Another is the third is the FATE technology, free air temperature enrichment. So free air temperature enrichment also on real time basis, probably what one is doing, that the temperature is being increased. Now what is the time? It is close to 35 minutes. I am going to talk about free air temperature enrichment technology because I don't like to continue because I won't be able to upload this video. I'll take the next video to talk about few more technologies. Thank you very much, free air temperature technology. I will continue with my next presentation. Once again, thank you very much to talk about a sense of what are the technologies we are promoting. Once again, thank you very much.